Hello, my name is Rachel Marks. I'm currently in the fall semester of my senior year, and I'm taking a course called Latin America on Film, taught by Dr. Ileana Pagan Teitelbaum. This video is going to be an analysis of a film scene from the Motorcycle Diaries, which is a 128-minute Brazilian film directed by Walter Salles. The film itself focuses on the early life of Ernesto Guevara, also known as Che, who was a revolutionary figure in Latin America during the 20th century. The main general topic of the film focuses on the life-changing transformation undergone by Che on a 4.5-month journey across Latin America by motorcycle. Along this journey, he discovers the way that indigenous people are living throughout the continent, which transforms him into the revolutionary leader. One of the underlying messages that Salles is trying to highlight is the injustice that the indigenous people of Latin America were suffering due to the European influences that plagued them. He also highlights the idea of travel being a keystone in revelation and growth as a person. A third key idea he incorporates into the film is the idea that power can be created in even the most average person, because there wasn't really anything extraordinary about Che until he did this. In the film, Salles points out that indigenous people were being mistreated and that surrounding yourself with the injustice in person is the only way to truly understand or notice it. A film scene that I feel really captures these ideas is what I've called the coldest night. It's when Che and Alberto are camping out with the two indigenous people that they meet along the road. And the idea of the scene is that Che and Alberto are traveling for fun and excitement and to learn, while others who are suffering are traveling just to survive. This is important to the film because I feel it serves as a moment of transformation in Che's life, and it highlights the importance of travel that Salles is trying to argue. The scene contributes a new, darker, and serious tone to the film by putting these things into perspective. And the way the scene does this is through sound, rhythm, discourse, tone, camera perspective, and empathy. Beginning with sound, there's no music, only crickets and the crackling of fire in the background. This presents a calm and eerie feeling within the scene. The tone of voice is serious and sad, which makes the audience feel the severity of the situation. And the message of the scene is to show how Che was influenced by talking to these people, and you can hear the sadness in his voice when he speaks to the travelers, as well as when he's writing in his diary. Moving on to camera perspective, which is the point of view that the audience is watching the scene from. So during the beginning of the scene, when the conversation between all of the characters is happening, the camera was directly on the faces of the four campers. But when Che's voice starts talking in the background, the camera was far away, looking at the campfire from a distance. Being close up to the characters while they're speaking makes the audience feel as if they're a part of the conversation, and this adds to the meaning of the scene because the viewers can feel the emotion behind it by being so close up, and they can go through the same transformation that Che did without having to actually travel and meet these people themselves. Discourse in a scene is the communication happening, and we have plenty of that going on in this scene in particular. There is both spoken and written discourse, and it begins with spoken, with the travelers explaining their reason for travel, which is sad and oppressive. And it's followed by Che's voice reading from his diary, explaining how he felt about the situation, which is also sad, and he expresses the oppression that those people are going through. He explains how it was the coldest night of his life, but it somehow made him feel closer to the human race. All of this discourse, but specifically Che speaking, shows how he was changing and transforming and putting himself into the lives of the oppressed, which goes to point out that travel is so important to transformation as a person. Overall, the film impacted me by showing me that people who limit themselves are only doing a disservice to their own personal growth. Che only knew he wanted to help the oppressed because he went and met them himself. I think that all three of the film strategies I studied were really well used by Salles. They were effective, relevant, and made the audience feel connected and empathetic. These film ideas reflect the struggles of many Latin Americans, and the ideas of oppression and people taking advantage of others will never go away or become irrelevant, and will therefore always be connected to the present day and future. I personally really enjoyed the film, and I'm really happy that I am now able to see a new perspective of Che.